How much did I charge? Oh yeah, $10. You got change for a 20?
Oh, I only got $6.12.
Oh, well, that's okay. Here, just give me the $6, and then I'll give you the 20.
Okay.
Now, give me the pubes, and I'll give you back $2.
Right.
Now, give me the 12 cents, and I'll give you the rest of your change back. And then give me the 20, and I'll give you the pubes.
Sweet. God damn.
Alright guys, so the Royal Rumble is this Saturday, and I'm not looking forward to it, and the reason why is because I'm very nervous of what the women's match gonna be. We have to figure out who is really gonna win. Is it gonna be Liv Morgan or Bianca Belair? A lot of people say Liv Morgan because of her history. Some people say Bianca because of her return. But let's hear what CJAX has to say and what do he think is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Might not have no positive things to say about it, but at least tell us who you think is going to win. So we could skip it, but let's just hear what he has to say in the video. And if we have to jump in, we'll jump in, because I could care less what he says about the men. I just want to know what he's going to say about the women. So let's go ahead and get started. What's up, guys? I just want to let you guys know I made a backup account on Instagram, so scan the QR code so that way you can follow back. Also, follow me on Twitter. Also, follow me on Instagram. I do have another account you can follow on there as well, and you can scan the QR code for that. So anytime I make a video, make sure you guys check the bio so that way you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for both accounts for Instagram and also for Twitter page. So I appreciate the support. Thank you guys for looking. Let's get to the video.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy CJAX back with another. No, let me stop. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop with all that. But listen, we're here back with another video, and quite frankly, I have some stuff to address. I did say I'd be talking about my Royal Rumble predictions and breaking down some things about the Rumble, because I think it's safe to say, guys, like I said a few days ago in my Raw review, this Royal Rumble has 5 things. Let's go ahead and run down quickly 5 things that this Royal Rumble has heading into it. Number 1, 0 hype. Number 2, 0 excitement, which I guess is the same thing as number 1, but you get the point. Number 3, it doesn't matter who wins this Rumble, because we know that Triple Fraud cannot be trusted to book an engaging and exciting Mania feud and build for whoever wins the Rumble from both the men and the women's Rumble. Number 4, the 4th problem with this is the simple fact that even if we get the Rumble exactly as we want it to be, let's say that a lot of people want it to be Roman Reigns or want it to be LA Knight, or whoever they want it to be. Let's say that that person wins the Rumble. What is the aftermath of that? What's actually going to happen, guys? What, 9 weeks of brawls and promo segments? I mean, come on now. Let's be real with ourselves. Issue number 5, of course, is that Triple Fraud is running the Rumble, and he officially came out today on ESPN's, Get Up show in the morning and said that the men's Rumble is going to be massive and it's going to have a ton of surprises, okay? And that it's going to be stacked and packed and absolutely loaded with so many surprises and awesomeness. Well, guys, this confirms that the Rumble is not going to be chocked full of surprises and epic moments. As you guys know, whenever Triple H tells you something, or Triple Fraud, or any of these other people, like Codarius Rodington tells you, what's it called, that WWE right now is better than the Attitude Era. You remember when he was saying that like a year ago, like a year and a half ago? Unbelievable. But still, this current, regime of WWE, whenever one of the higher-ups tries to convince you that things are going to be amazing, or like Triple H has said 18 different times that we're entering a quote-unquote new era and things are going to be epic. Remember the Raw after Survivor Series where this dude goes, man, you guys are not ready for this Raw. It's going to be epic. You're not ready. And no one can even remember the Raw after Survivor Series. I don't even remember what happened on that episode. It was that bad. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing with the Netflix and the ESPN eras. When we got the Raw Netflix premiere last year, Triple H said it's going to be a new era, chocked full of surprises. It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. We can reach hundreds of millions of viewers, and yet they're barely reaching 2.3 million viewers consistently week to week. You get what I'm saying? They lie to you consistently. So when Triple H comes out today and says that the Rumble is going to be chock full of surprises and it's going to be stacked, allegedly, you know what I'm saying, according to Triple H, that means it's not going to probably be stacked, okay? The point is that this Rumble does not matter, and nobody cares what happens in this Rumble. At least I don't care what happens in this Rumble, and I'm not hyped for it. And quite frankly, I expect it to suck. We haven't seen a genuinely greatly booked show from start to finish on a PLE from WWE, and I don't even know how long it's been at this point. I genuinely don't know. I think like SummerSlam 2024 probably, or before that it was Mania 40. That's how long it's been. We're reaching back nearly 2 years for this stuff at this point. It's getting bad. Last year you had every single PLE was bad. It was a waste of time. It was boring, and they went absolutely nowhere. Hence why the Vision, for example, this is just a small example, when they were supposed to have the situation in the summer where the Penta situation, as Seth Rollins called it, was supposedly taken care of, and now Penta and Dragano Lee are still feuding with the Vision. You get me? Right? You have Paul Heyman saying that, oh, we're going to have the future of WrestleMania, the Mania main eventers, you know what I'm saying, the future of the industry with Brunson Reed and Braun Breaker and all this other stuff, and now it's Austin Theory and Logan Paul, yet all of them have collectively come to the agreement that they're going to job out and do whatever they can to help Braun Breaker win the championship. Braun Breaker, who just lost to CM Punk, and Brunson Reed, who just beat Roman Reigns like a few months ago. And one of them is a jobber still, you know what I'm saying, a lackey jobber, and the other one is trying to get help from 3 other dudes to help win a Rumble. It's just stupid. You understand what I'm saying? It makes no sense. But at the end of the day, this is what's expected from the Rumble. Nobody should expect anything great or grandiose from these PLEs because we know who's booking the show. And until that changes, I don't care what they announce for this Rumble. It's not going to be stacked. It's not going to be packed. So let me go ahead and give some of my predictions for what's going to happen on this show. And I'm also going to break down some other things as well because we have some multiple issues with this Rumble. So let's go ahead and start off with the match that nobody cares about first, which all these matches nobody really should care about. But let's just go through it, but you know what I'm saying, piece by piece.
All right, well, before we do that and hear what you got to say about AJ Styles versus Gunther, let's talk about Liv and Bianca real quick. Now, shout out to Kicking It with Leo. He messaged me on Instagram, and he pretty much has some few words about the video that I dropped about the Women's Royal Rumble, and y'all go check out that video. It dropped I think 2 hours ago. So, yeah, I was trying to drop it on Friday, but for some reason it got dropped today. My bad. But let's talk about this real quick. So Leo, he wanted to respond to my video, and this is where he has his thoughts on, Liv Morgan and winning the Royal Rumble, and how he thinks that Bianca is not going to win the Royal Rumble based off of, people pushing it to have her win based off of how many times she had won it and based off of her being the runner-up. So let him explain. It's a 4-minute audio. So let's hear his input on Liv Morgan winning and possibly not Bianca winning. Let's hear it.
Yes, I was just finished watching your video talking about the Women's Royal Rumble. You made a lot of great points when it came to like a lot of these women and everything like that, even Liv Morgan, and I can agree. I know a lot of people may not want it, but I feel as if I'm knowing how WWE's strategy can be. Because if you remember when Becky won the Chamber in 2024, a lot of people wanted Liv to win that. But the thing is, they wanted to do what they felt like could have been the best match possible for Raw right at that point, or whatever. And, they were continuing to try to build Liv's character up. But on top of that, another thing that, was a factor in Becky winning is the fact that at that time she had a book coming out. So that WWE, they wanted to use that as a strategy to give her the win so that they can use that as publicity for her being in that spot, going into Mania with everything that was surrounded it. So you kind of can see where they're going with that. Now, I can see them giving it to Liv because, like you said, even she said on ESPN, she feels as if she's done everything that there is to do in the Rumble, right? She says she had the shortest time in the Rumble. She's been top 3 for Iron Women. She's been in the Final 4. She's been in the Final 2 many times. But she says she's never had the opportunity to win it. And I think she even said it's now or never. She literally said that in her words, it's now or never for her to win this year. But on top of that, I think another selling point that WWE I think is going to take advantage of is the fact that Liv Morgan does have a movie coming out. I think within the next month or two, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure on the actual date, but I think it's before Mania. I can see them giving it to Liv because I think they're going to do the same thing they did with Becky, for the simple fact that she's got this movie coming out. They want to, promote it. They want to promote her. Potentially, I know you may not want her to potentially win the championship, potentially at Mania, but for example, maybe the movie comes out maybe then sometime after WrestleMania, right? I can see WWE wanting to put the title on her so she could parade around with the title to be on interviews and podcasts and everything like that. That gets more exposure for WWE and everything like that. So I could see them doing that. The thing is with Bianca, I understand where people are coming from. It is the biggest story right now, potentially what you could do. But I think with Liv Morgan winning, there's a lot more opportunities you can play with, or stories you can play with her being the Rumble winner rather than Bianca winning. Because Bianca, we already know she's going to go after Jade. She's not going to entertain the idea of going after Stephanie. Granted, I think the match could be really good, but we know the match that they want to do is her and Jade Cargill. Now, I can see them bringing her back and being in that, Final Four or something. Maybe something happens where she gets eliminated. Because I think, here's the thing, and I was looking at stats. She's never been a runner-up in the Royal Rumble before. And the thing is, a lot of the fans do not want to see a person come back from an injury and win the Royal Rumble instantly. Because we did that with Charlotte Flair last year, and look what happened. There was a ton of backlash for them giving her the victory upon return. I think they have to learn from that. And I think they're not going to do that with Bianca. However, I can see a world where maybe Bianca does lose, but you can put her in the chamber and win that. Because there's a lot of stories that happened there, right? With, Naomi getting attacked by Jade Cargill when she made a return. Bianca being in the pod, watching everything that took place, and everything like that, right? And I think that's the route I see them going. Because we already know, I was thinking maybe they could have the WWE Women's Championship on the line because they haven't done that in a while. Maybe having Jade go in there defending against Bianca, Alexa, Charlotte, Tiffany, and Jordan Grace. That's a star-studded match with a lot of star power in there. But I don't think they're going to do that because Triple H announced himself that whoever wins the WrestleMania, they're going to pretty much have their main event spots or whatever the case is or whatever. And then for the Chamber, they're going to compete for title matches at WrestleMania. So it's number one contender like usual. But I think you can end up having Bianca win that. Because the thing is, you can have her be the first ever person to win the Chamber. The Chamber 3 times. Because nobody's done that, I don't think, for either men or women. So that's a big W for her. And I think she can go in there and have some potential spots with women that she could potentially tease feuds with down the line.
All right, so y'all can comment down below. Let me know what y'all think what Leo said. Do you agree with him or do you don't? I agree with some things he say, just a little bit. Because some of the stuff he say is right. However, when he mentioned Charlotte Flair and, the movie coming out and Becky having a book, look, I don't know anything about I know Becky was promoting the book because I saw her Breakfast Club interview. If y'all want to go check that out, I think it's still on their platform. I know they switched up everything now that they're on Netflix, but there is an interview with Becky Lynch on the Breakfast Club, and I never expected her to be on there, but she's on there, and she was promoting the book at that time. But I do believe this was I think this was after WrestleMania, but I couldn't sworn this happened in 2025, but I gotta look back at the date. Let me check. Yep, it was 1 year ago, so that was last year. Now, like I said, y'all could go check out the interview. I could put it down in the description if you want. But yeah, it's still up, so if you guys want to go check it out, feel free. It's a really good interview. I really love it. However, I will say this. When you talk about Charlotte Flair, see, Charlotte Flair need to be on the Breakfast Club. I ain't gonna lie. Her and her father. Well, her father showed up, but not her. But I think she do need to be on the Breakfast Club. But however, Also, if they do decide to have Charlotte Flair do the Breakfast Club, I'm just letting you know they kind of cut back on full interviews. You got to watch it on Netflix. But if you want to just listen to the audio, you could download iHeartRadio. You could download the iHeartRadio app because that's where they're partnering at. So I downloaded the app and it is free. So you can go on there and listen to the interview. If they ever do drop a interview from a WWE superstar, you might not be able to see the person, but you'll be able to hear the person. So because it is a radio show, so I'm not expecting to see people's faces when you listen to the radio show. So either way, it'll still be good. At least you could download the app and you can listen to it on there. So that's great. Shout out to iHeartRadio. However, I wouldn't compare Bianca to Charlotte Flair. I think the reason why people did not want Charlotte Flair to win, in my opinion, is because Charlotte Flair has a bad reputation of being booked like Hulk Hogan, right? Becky, Rhea, like all three of them get booked like Hogan. So that's why people did not want Charlotte to win, because she's always getting a title shot and she's always in the title picture. Even though people wanted Tiffany and Charlotte at WrestleMania, I think the reason why people switched up because they just didn't want her to go after gold. That revolves the WWE Championship and the Women's World Championship. So they had to have her as a heel when she came back. She was supposed to be a babyface, but they have her as a heel. And the reason why is because she was getting booed and they would not allow her to speak. And that's what was sad about Charlotte Flair's booking, is that people did not care too much for her and just didn't really want her back. You know what I'm saying? And she was getting go away heat. And I do think it's disgusting that people would hate on Charlotte Flair like that, because that heat that y'all gave Charlotte Flair, y'all should have passed that to Liv Morgan, because she was doing all types of shit that was just beyond boundaries. But while Charlotte Flair, versus with her, she was just coming back to do her job. Versus with Liv, she was just doing things that Triple H would tell her to do, and then would just piss people off. And even though it wasn't loud because her fans was in the way, she was doing some fuck shit, and she been doing this for about 2 years now. It's the same shit every single time. Then, all types. And it's not just her cutting promos and just saying everything. I'm talking about like disrespecting Jade Cargill, putting the pressure on Bianca to apologize, going crazy online, posting pictures of Dirty Dom, knowing damn well that he has a wife back at home, and, just doing all types of shit, kissing him on the cam, you know what I mean? Like jumping on top of him, posting pictures of both of them just jumping on top of each other, just doing all types of freaky things that was just not appropriate, as a married man, and not only that, just the nonsensical booking, like Netflix. Rhea Rebbe beat Liv Morgan because Raquel and Dom did not help her. And then all of a sudden, after the match, her and Raquel, what do? They helped him get out of the ring after he got riptied by Rhea Rebbe. Makes no sense. And then afterwards, when we thought we was going to get Liv and Finn to turn on Dom, you come to find out they slowed that down once they thought about the tag team titles. And then it's just like, damn, you could have just done that without Dominic Mysterio, but they did it anyway. So it was just confusing booking, and unfortunately, that booking and this long-term booking with the Judgment Day is one of the reasons why some people feel like she's not going to win, because her storyline with the Judgment Day is not going nowhere. But it will go somewhere if you will have Finn and Raquel turn on the Judgment Day, and then have Liv Morgan be the last person to say, I might be out too, based off of my betrayal that I have suffered from Dominic Mysterio and Roxanne Perez, when I thought I could trust both of them, until I realized that I couldn't trust none of them. So now I'm alone, because now I see that I should have listened to Finn. I should have listened to Raquel. I should have listened to Rhea. I should have listened to people that told me that I shouldn't trust Dom and I shouldn't trust Roxanne. I should have listened to Michael Cole. I should have listened to Pat McAfee, but I didn't listen because I thought I could trust them, and then I realized I couldn't trust nobody. So unfortunately, that trust is the reason why I don't believe that she's going to come back as this, this chick that y'all see. I don't think she's going to come back as the Judgment Day version of Liv. I think she's going to go to the unhinged Liv. And I do think that's what's going to happen in order for her to get over with the crowd. So I can understand Leo saying that, if she wins at WrestleMania, she can, promote the belt and whatnot. But she already done that with the women's, what's it called? She already done that the first time when she went to the Bad Boys 4 premiere. So, you already showcased the belt. And guess what? When you showcased the belt, people still didn't care because, unfortunately, your name wasn't loud enough. And I do think that if this movie does be successful, which I pray it does, then maybe she will get that spotlight. But will she get 1 million views? No, it's going to take time. You have to do more films. And I think the problem that I have with Liv is that I think something is holding her back from doing more films, because I do believe that, here's the thing. I do want her to do more films because I feel like that's going to build her aura and that's going to build her stock. And not only that, it'll bring star power, which means if she comes back, let's say if she be back for like 5 or 6 months, if she comes back from any movie she does, I guarantee you she'll get a loud pop, and she'll most likely be in the same level as Rhea, but 10 times louder because she's a movie star now. That's what I say. Go to Hollywood, because that's what's going to get you over. Cody is in Hollywood and nothing's getting over. Roman Reigns is in Hollywood and nobody can't even find a movie that he's going to be in besides Street Fighters. CM Punk is in a movie and I can't even show up and watch it because the time slots are literally evening. So which means I have to wait until it comes on YouTube or Amazon or any channel. I hope it don't come on Netflix, but like any other streaming platform in order for me to watch it. So now I got to wait for it to get off theaters so that way I could be able to watch it. So again, these 3 men are not doing so well in the Hollywood space, but the only person that's being known right now is Roman Reigns, but that don't mean that those 3 are not known. It just means that their name is not loud enough for them to come back and bring 1 million views. Maybe Roman, but not Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. It just depends on what segment or what match they're doing. But this is the thing: if Rhea Ripley can't bring 1 million views, the only time she does is when she comes back, then that's a problem. But if Liv Morgan is consistently in Hollywood and do more films, then I guarantee you when she comes back, she'll be nationwide. And then at that point, I do believe that her stock will go up. And then when she comes back, the star power will be there. But not if you're just winning the belt. You winning a belt and you winning the Royal Rumble means absolutely nothing when people know the backstory of how you won it. Now the belt thing, I don't know. But the Royal Rumble thing is obvious because you're winning it because of the bag. That's it. Your people are gambling on you. They're literally wasting money on you. If anything goes wrong, they're gonna lose their minds because they just bet it on something that's not even a real sport. So it's just like, how can you bet money on someone that is not even, like, she's a wrestler, but she's an actress as well? Why would you bet on something like that when you could be betting on NBA or football or any other sport that's not scripted? You know what I'm saying? So this is just stupid booking, and I just hope that we get the right winner for the Royal Rumble, but I just say, man, even if Liv Morgan wins the belt and wins the Royal Rumble, it's forgettable because of the belt, because of the bookkeeper. Now, if this was Shawn Michaels, then yes, I do think it'll be memorable, but unfortunately, Triple H was going to book it to where it's not memorable. So the only way you can remember is if you remember it yourself and then you go back and watch it. But there's some people that won't do that because it's in their minds, it's bad booking, and they don't want to go back and watch that bad booking because it's bad. So, again, it's just all part of the game, you know. But we all know why Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble. It's not because she's the runner-up. It's because Saudi Arabia want their money's worth. And if they pay TKO to have Sami Zayn and Liv Morgan win, then that's what they're going to do because they know TKO needs the money and they'll do anything for a mighty dollar. And so this is a gamble. And not only that, you know, in my opinion, this is a complete scam because you're not doing this because she earned it and she worked hard for it. You're doing it because you want to pay off a debt and make some mad money. So this has nothing to do with WWE. This is TKO getting out of debt. So they pick Liv Morgan because that's what they want to win the Women's Royal Rumble. So either way, it doesn't matter. But it'll matter to their fans, but it won't matter to what the story is told. And the story right now is not about Liv. The story is about Raquel and Finn getting out of the Judgment Day. And right now, Liv Morgan is not able to tell a story because she's, you know, tag teaming with Roxanne. She's still fucking around with Dom. And unfortunately, that's going to hold her back from telling the story because she's still stuck at those two places. So in order for her to get out of that, you got to get her out of those places. So that way she could be able to go independent and she could possibly go babyface based off of the portrayal. But but if you want her to stay babyface longer, then you need to switch up her gimmick. That's what I try to tell Leo. She has to switch characters, you know, and that's the only way to do it. So switch characters and you'll stay babyface for a little while. And then if you want to go back heel, then fine. But don't go back heel just so you could fuck around with Dom. No, go back heel because you finally figured out, all right, this is my character, so let me make my character more demonic. I won't make my character about a boy. I'll make my character about, you know, how crazy I am and how psycho I am. You know what I mean? So, you know, bring back the unhinged gimmick, but make it much entertaining and much believable, just like, you know, like Naomi when she was preceded with caution type gimmick. You feel me? So that's all I can say. But there's some more audio, but let's continue because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to spoil, but I'll come back because there's two more audios I want to react to from Leo. So let's just go ahead and get to the AJ Styles and Gunther. So let's get to that, and then we'll come back to it. So let's continue.
We have Gunther versus AJ Styles. Gunther's obviously going to make AJ Styles tap out or lose this match one way or the other. It's pretty self-explanatory. AJ Styles has known for months that he's going to retire at the Rumble, and apparently he let WWE know that months ago, and the best that Triple Fraud could give him is a meaningless story with Gunther that was literally created a week or two ago on Raw. That's all he can give him. Is just, hey, AJ, you're going to go ahead and retire to Gunther next week at Royal Rumble. That's the match was just made. We moved on. We had no promo between the two on Raw, and that was it. That's all we got. So now AJ Styles is going to retire. Shinsuke Nakamura already leaked it by accident, so it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here. Gunther will retire AJ Styles, and now he's going to be known as the quote-unquote career killer. The same guy who tapped out to Jey Uso last year is now going to be called the career killer. This is what the current climate of WWE looks like. You see what I mean? That's another example of two that I have to bring this up, guys. When someone wins a Rumble, or even the champions before the Rumble, what do they do from the Rumble to the Mania? What do they do? Last year, Gunther was the world champion. What did he do after Jey Uso won that world title? Literally nothing. Him and Jey Uso had promos and brawl segments for 10 weeks. And it was boring and unexciting and unengaging. And by a couple weeks before Mania, we were already completely tuned out of the Gunther and Jey Uso feud. And they had a mediocre, forgettable match at WrestleMania. It was honestly probably bad. I don't even remember what happened in the match, other than the fact that Jey Uso tapped him out. And that was it. That was literally it. And then we move on from that. We had Cody Rhodes, who was the WWE champion. After Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes wrestled 0 matches. He wrestled 0 matches after Royal Rumble last year up until WrestleMania 41, where he had a garbage match with Jonathan Cena and lost his championship. And in that span from Rumble to WrestleMania, all Cody Rhodes did was say, I respect you, I love you, I need you. You know what I'm saying? That's all he did. That's all he did. And then he ended up having a bunch bunch of promos with John Cena in some brawls where he hit some crossroads, and then after that, he ended up winning the match, or what's called losing the match at WrestleMania. Bunch of brawls and promos and nothing for 3 months. What do you think's going to happen after the Royal Rumble happens, and then whoever picks the championship, whether it's Punk or Drew, what do you think that Drew or Punk is going to do for the foreseeable future? Absolutely nothing. What do you think that's going to happen for CM Punk and if he's still world champion after Royal Rumble and after the Chamber? Nothing. He's going to sit there, cut promos, and brawl for 10 weeks. That's the creativity we have. And so, while we're sitting here seeing the Rumble hinge on people like Brock Lesnar or Romano Reigns or a returning Chris Jericho or a Randy Orton, everyone here is either old or they're a part-timer. That's the problem. You know that people like Obama Femi, who's going to be in the Rumble, Trick Williams, right? Trick or Treat Williams, Javon Evans, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, they have zero chance of winning this Rumble, and you know that. You know that. So why are we even doing this? We're here to see some old head win the Rumble, or to see LA Knight finally get his chance 2 years too late, or to see Roman Reigns, who is a super part-timer at this point, and him and Triple H are having creative disputes backstage. We're going to see if he can win the Rumble. These are the options that we have available to us. That's what we have. And speaking of the men's Rumble, I might as well jump into it.
Hold up. Let's pause for a minute. Now, we got another audio from Leo where he has this is where he's talking about WrestleMania. Now, I know y'all looking at the photo like, well, why are we still talking about Bianca and Liv? And I'm like, no, we are talking about the Judgment Day and WrestleMania. So, the reason why I need to talk about this because he has another thought where he thinks that Roxanne might be added to the match between Liv, Raquel, and Stephanie at WrestleMania because he wants, Roxanne to do something besides, do absolutely nothing. But then again, I explained it multiple times in my videos where I do know what she's going to do. She's going to, extract Dominic Mysterio from, spending time with Liv while Liv and Raquel feud. So that's what she's going to do until we get to Queen of the Ring or we get to Roxanne versus AJ for the IC belt. And possibly Dom helping her because, once he loses the belt, he ain't going to have nothing to do. I mean, Roxanne might be, probably just thinking like, okay. Hey, can you help me out real quick? Can you help me out? And then Dom is like, oh no, I don't want to piss off my Nita, my Kika, my Lika, Mamacita, and it's just like, again, and then Roxanne like, I know, but she's too busy beefing with Raquel. So, can you help me, please? Please. And then Domi's like, all right. And then, of course, Finn Balor's eyeing because he sees that, Dominic Mysterio is messing around with, Roxanne. And Finn Balor is trying to be, he's not saying nothing, but he's looking. And, I'll go there. Let me let him speak real quick, and then I'll get back to my thoughts. Let's listen.
And then, I can see where you were coming from, Raquel. I think the only thing is I would have had more confidence in her potentially winning because she was one of the people that I could have said, hey, if they want to go with the swerve, why not? Or whatever, right? But I think with her having that title match, that kind of, dropped a lot of my confidence down because it's like, if you're going to potentially win the championship or whatever the case is, right? Then it's like, I don't know. It would kind of feel like a little wonky to me in a sense because, if you win the championship, cool, which I would love to see her win the championship, don't get me wrong. And I think with her being there, I think you could tell some interesting stories, maybe what we could be leading into going into Mania. Because I think they could do a fatal four-way for the women's world title with maybe Stephanie being involved. I don't know if you've been on Twitter or not, and I don't blame you if you don't. But I did see a report. I don't know if it's accurate, but if it is true, the report pretty much talked about there's a possibility that WWE may think about having the Judgment Day for the women's side of things, main event night 1 for the Women's World Championship, where you have Liv, the Royal Rumble winner, you have the champion, Raquel, and you have Roxanne Perez in there as well, and you could kind of have her kind of being, split, not knowing whose side to pick or whatever. So I think they could do that. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I know you really do like Raquel and everything like that, and you may have mixed feelings on Liv just because some of her actions in the past, which is, valid, and everything like that. And Roxanne, I mean, she was the Iron Woman last year. I mean, she went the distance. The opportunity is there if they really wanted to. But I think maybe having her maybe win Money in the Bank or Queen of the Ring, I could see them doing that. But how do you feel if this is a possibility where we get the Judgment on the women's side of thing with Liv, Raquel, Roxanne, triple threat, main event night 1 for the Women's World Championship?
All right. So I don't think. Okay. So this is what I told Leo. I told him that I don't think they're gonna do that because the reason why I feel like they're not gonna do that is because I don't think they're going to do that because I think Roxanne is going to focus on Dominic Mysterio and possibly try to get him to help her win the IC title. And if that fumbles, she'll probably have him help her win the Queen of the Ring. But I think if they're allowed to have some interferences. But yeah, I do think Dominic Mysterio is going to probably help out Roxanne a little bit more. And that's going to probably help her, build her relationship with him. So I think that's what they're going to work on. And then possibly we might get the Liv and Roxanne feud while Raquel focus on the main event scene, and that's to go after the world title if Liv Morgan lose that belt. So, but I would like for her to, because some people feel like if she wins it, she's going to carry it to SummerSlam. And I don't believe that will be fair because then we can't get a conclusion for Liv and Dom and Roxanne. So in order for that to go down, we have to end the Liv and Dom chapter once and for all. And that's where I think Leo is missing it, is that you still have Liv Morgan messing around with Dom and you still have her being cool with Roxanne, that's why I believe that Finn and Raquel are going to leave. And because of the storyline between Dom and Roxanne that are connected with Liv Morgan. So I do believe those two will be around Liv Morgan for a little bit until a betrayal happens. So I don't know what that will be, but if Liv and Raquel ever do get a rematch for the world title, then it has to get off her back, because if you're going to wrap it up that soon, like that quick, you should do it at Queen of the Ring. So that way, like Night of Champions, I think that's what it's going to be called. Yeah, Night of Champions. Just do it at Night of Champions. And then, just have Liv Morgan lose the belt to Raquel, because I guess Dom and Roxanne were trying to help her, but not helping her. And even though I don't want that kind of booking, if you're trying to wrap it up, then yeah, have Dom and Roxanne come out to help her, but then you come to find out they're not helping her, they're helping her to lose. And then at that point, Raquel will retain her title, and then Dom and Roxanne will most likely show their true colors and say that, hey, we're together. And when we get to SummerSlam, then we can get Liv versus Roxanne. Wow, Raquel, challenge the belt for somebody. Hopefully, we can get somebody besides Rhea to face Raquel for the belt. I don't know who, but this is why we need Ruka, Jessie Jane, maybe Blake Moreau, Laura Vice. Hopefully Laura Vice, but some people say she might come to SmackDown. But no, but Raquel needs some opponents, and I think Laura Vice versus Raquel will be a great matchup. But if Triple H and the creative are looking for somebody white, then why don't you go get, I don't know, like I said, just get. If you want somebody to go after her, then why don't you have Blake Moreau go after her, or Tiffany Stratton, right? You draft Tiffany Stratton to Raw and have Tiffany Stratton go against Raquel. I mean, why not do that? Start a feud with that. Do that in SummerSlam while Liv and Roxanne beef. You know what I mean? Do that. So, at some point you're going to have to speed it up. But if you're not going to speed it up, then the possibility is if Raquel wins at WrestleMania, Liv and Raquel might get I'll just say either way, right? Liv and Raquel will probably get a rematch either at Night of Champions or SummerSlam. And then when that happens, I would appreciate it if they have Roxanne and Dom come out to act like they're going to help her, but in reality, they're going to betray her, just like, how Dom betrayed Rhea. And just to show that, hey, we're done. You know what I'm saying? We're together, and that's that. So if they want to do that, then good. But again, to have Raquel included in this match just because I don't know. Like I said, because I don't believe that Roxanne is going to walk away like that. I don't believe that because Liv Morgan is putting her trust into her, and that's going to make her, stay. So Raquel can walk, but not Roxanne. So that's why I said Finn and Raquel are leaving while Roxanne is staying for the storyline with Dominic Mysterio. So that story has to be told. And if they could tell that story till Night of Champions, great. But if they tell it to all the way to SummerSlam, don't be surprised. Because I do feel like Raquel's story will be told after Night of Champions or SummerSlam. But either way, it will be built up. So people might not pay attention, but, because of the bad booking. But, hey, we're not watching Monday Night Raw until we get change. So I do believe after WrestleMania, we'll see a little something. But before WrestleMania, the story has to be told with Raquel. And, the story with Liv Morgan, listen, even if she wins the belt, how we know that she's not going to lose that belt at whatsoever. You can't just have her hold the belt till Money in the Bank. It's too long, okay? So it's either SummerSlam or Night of Champions. And, either way, I mean, it just wouldn't be fair if she holds the belt, all the way to, SummerSlam when not SummerSlam, all the way to Money in the Bank when it's like, no, we can't do that. It's either you do it at SummerSlam or you do it at Night of Champions. All right, that's just where we at. But no, I don't think it will be a fatal four-way. I do think it's going to still be a triple threat match. And then after that, we might get a one-on-one between Liv and Raquel if they don't fumble the story. So we'll see. But let's continue.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, that Los Angeles Knight is going to win the Rumble. I think that Adam Pearce on Raw, after revealing that the Vision have all been, reinstated and they're all going to be in the Royal Rumble, I think that's a setup, and I think that the person he's been on the phone with is probably someone relating to Seth Rollins, and I think Seth Rollins will have a return at, at Royal Rumble, okay? I don't think he's going to be able to fully in-ring compete for another month or two, probably, but he will probably show up at Rumble, maybe to hit a curb stomp or something like that, or distract the Vision or cost the Vision, and help LA Knight eliminate the Vision in order for him to get the W at the Rumble. Because I think what's going to happen is that Seth Rollins, he was on ESPN, I think, First Take a few days ago, and he basically was ESPN has a script for what they're going to say to these celebrities and these athletes and all this stuff, and one of the interviewers goes, Ryan Clark, he's like, so Seth, how does it feel to be on this absolutely massive Royal Rumble show? It's an international show. You guys are going to Saudi Arabia, and you're going to be competing in it. You know what I'm saying? He said something along those lines, and Seth's face looked absolutely shocked, but it looks like it's already been kind of spoiled that Seth Rollins is most likely going to be at the Rumble. And even if he isn't, right, let's just say he's not going to be there, because that's a heavy possibility too. He may not show up. If he doesn't show up, I still think LA Knight's going to win anyways, because I think it's time. I think they wrote him off of TV, you know what I'm saying, and had him get jobbed out. I think it's time to bring him back, get him some momentum. He's fresh. He'll be making his return, and I think he'll get that W and finally get his much wanted and needed World Championship reign and deserved championship reign. That he's going to probably have after WrestleMania when he beats CM Punk for that title. I think he's going to choose to challenge CM Punk. And as for the other people who are involved in this Rumble, people like Roman Reigns, you know what I'm saying? Drew McIntyre's not in the Rumble. He's the WWE champion. We'll get to him in a second. But I think Roman Reigns is not going to win this Rumble. Even though they have him coming back, guys, him and Triple H having the creative disputes backstage, and Triple H allegedly being reluctant to put Roman in the main event scene for Mania, which is stupid. Roman is the last superstar in professional wrestling. I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again. And he is the biggest star in this company by far. I don't understand how you're in a situation where you can't find a way to utilize and book this dude in meaningful and engaging and exciting storylines after this Rumble in the main event scene. Even if Roman's not going for a belt, give him something of meaning to do in the main event scene at Mania. I just don't understand how bad of a booker that you can actually be. That's the problem with these Rumbles. And we'll talk about the Women's Rumble in a second, but both of these Rumbles, what possible storylines are you really excited for watching these matches? Seriously, this is an hour and 15 minutes probably. Each of these matches are going to be like an hour and a half. What are the storylines or the exciting moments or the exciting, you know what I'm saying, feuds or drama that's going to be set up inside of this match? Where's the intrigue going to come from? Like I said, it'll only come from the part-timers and the old heads on the roster. That's it. And that is an embarrassment, in my personal opinion. You should have other stuff to look forward to, but there simply just isn't that for this Rumble.
All right, one more pause. All right, so one more audio from Leo about Liv Morgan's WrestleMania, and I think possibly he's going to talk about one more thing about the Royal Rumble with Liv Morgan, or why he thinks Liv Morgan's going to win. So let's just hear one more thing, and then we'll get to the and then we'll get back to the video. And then I'll share a little bit of my thoughts, and then after that we'll get back to the video. All right, so let's go ahead and hear this last audio from Leo.
And I'm going to say this, even as a Liv Morgan fan, I would love to see her win the Royal Rumble, considering, like, you know, she's never won it. And if she doesn't win at Mania, I'm cool with it. At least I can say she's finally won the Royal Rumble, or whatever the case is, so she can knock that off her bucket list, or whatever. But, and then if you do end up having maybe her take the pin or something like that, you could set, you know, something up to where maybe she ends up winning, maybe like Liv gets transferred over to SmackDown, right? Or maybe she wins Queen of the Ring and she uses that to go to SmackDown, or she wins Money in the Bank to go to SmackDown. I could see them doing something along the lines of that. So we could set something up to maybe where we get the Judgment Day split, and then coming out of it, maybe she does have a rematch, and after that, she can go over to SmackDown, compete for the U.S. title, compete against Charlotte, because Charlotte did say she wants to have a match with her. Bianca and Liv, they need to have a one-on-one match at some point. I think those two would kill it in the ring. You have other potential matchups there as well, with maybe Liv and Alexa, like I already said, Liv and Charlotte, Liv and Julia, which would be something very interesting as well. Liv and Chelsea, I think, would be good. You have potential stars there. You could potentially do Liv and Jordan Grace, Liv and Tiffany Stratton. I mean, you have, you know, options there coming out of Mania. Or if they do give her the world title, I can see them doing like how they used to do with the draft, and maybe she gets moved over to SmackDown with the Women's World Championship, and then maybe the WWE Women's Championship gets moved over to Raw, because they've done that in the past, whether it's like the mid-card titles or the World Championship. They switch brands. I could see them going in that route. I don't know how you feel about it. It could work. And then if you really want to, you could potentially build up other people. Maybe you do have Liv Morgan get moved over to Raw, or not Raw, SmackDown as the Women's World Champion. And then maybe the person that takes the title from her is maybe Alexa Bliss. And if she's a heel, and if Liv Morgan is getting babyface reactions, and maybe within storyline, maybe they could say she's the babyface, or whatever the case is, or the situation at hand makes her babyface. I could see them doing that, and then maybe you can have Alexa take this title from Liv, because there is a feud there that I would love to see them do when they do end up having those two on the same brand.
Yeah, I like that last audio, just because that's a plan right there. But I told him that this would have worked if this was the Vince McMahon booking, because he would have fast-paced this crap like fast food. But however, because this is Triple H, the long-term booking still remains. So this might not happen until after SummerSlam or after Money in the Bank. So, but I don't think she's going to take the title with her. But I do like the fact he did say that if she lose, then, you know, she can get another rematch and then go to SmackDown. But she can't go to SmackDown until the Liv and Dom and Roxanne story is over with. So once that is over with and she start taking L's, then she can go to SmackDown, and then at that point you're gonna have to move on, Liv, because if you guys been looking at if y'all been looking at SmackDown's viewership, it ain't looking good. You would think that because they're overseas, it's getting low. No, it's low. It's getting lower and lower, and the more it gets lower, it's gonna be doing Dynamite numbers, maybe NXT numbers. So I don't know what SmackDown gonna do, man, because if it gets too low, they're gonna have to leave USA. You know, they're gonna have to. So I don't know where they're gonna go, but you know, they're gonna go somewhere, because if you're gonna keep the show going, you're gonna have to take it somewhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're gonna have to do some drafts or something. Like I said, You know, I mean, you're gonna have to, like I said, have Liv Morgan come to SmackDown, man. Like I said, she could get the ball rolling, especially for the women's division. I would definitely love to see her over there. I mean, I won't trip as long as she get away from Dom. That's all that matters. But you know, I might not be able to put videos on my YouTube because of the channel itself. But I could, you know, still like, you know, put a little clip here and there. You know what I mean? But it got to be on my Instagram, though. So you're going to have to follow me on there if you guys want to follow me. But other than that, only thing I can just say is this, right? Shout out to Leo. I'm glad that he came up with that idea, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till SummerSlam for that idea to happen of her going to SmackDown after she lose to rather Raquel or Roxanne or whatever. That would be a great idea, something to hold. Hopefully, that would be the plan right there, because you can't keep her on Raw for long. At some point, you're going to have to switch her with Tiffany Stratton. Even though I don't want Tiffany Stratton to leave SmackDown just because I want her to team up with Kaya James and Chelsea Green, listen, unless they're going to have her go after the U.S. title and then they have all three of them work together, I don't see Tiffany Stratton, you know, having any plan besides going to Raw and possibly taking Liv Morgan's place to get, women's division going. I think Triple H will probably book her better over there, but I don't think so. Just because Raw's just been pretty bad lately. But I think once Liv Morgan walk away, I think it'll be much better, at least in my opinion. So, we'll see. But right now, the viewership on SmackDown is in trouble, and you need somebody with star power to be over there. And I think the person to do it, at least minimum, is Liv Morgan. Now, if you want to send Rhea over there, that's on you. But I would rather keep Liv Morgan. I mean, I would rather for you to keep Rhea Rebby there, just so she could tell a story in case, Paige decide to work part-time, which I don't recommend. But if she wants to work part-time and feud with Rhea or maybe team up with Rhea, that's okay. But at this point, I just really want Liv Morgan to do something different besides stay on Raw and be stuck in the Dominic Mysterio portal, because it's overdue now. People are not even talking about those two anymore. So at this point, the Liv and Dom movement is dead, and the only way they'll probably bring it back is if those two break up. But I think once we slowly get Dominic Mysterio to get with Roxanne, I think people will start to cheer for them more than they start to cheer for Liv and Dom when they were together. And honestly, I'll be invested, and I would definitely love to see two Mexicans get together, because honestly, I adore stuff like that, so but that don't mean that we're gonna still ride or die for Marie Juliet. That doesn't mean we ain't gonna ride for her. We might not ride for Drake, but we'll ride for Marie Juliet for sure. But other than that, the conclusion probably won't happen until SummerSlam or Queen. I don't know about Queen of the Ring, but probably like either Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. But hopefully Leo's correct, and hopefully maybe at Night of Champions we might get a conclusion. But I don't know. It depends how fast they'll speed it up. Now, I will tell you this. Like I said, what you see in front of the screen, right? This is the Liv Morgan we need back. So after Dom and Roxanne betray her, we need to unhinge Liv Morgan back. Now, this is when she was on Raw. Now, I couldn't find a picture where she was unhinged on SmackDown, but something like this, but more vicious, more aura type, where you wear a costume. I'm thinking maybe you dress like Catwoman, but you look more like a demon type. You're scary looking, and people start to dress like you and act like you for Halloween. And I think that can really work if you play the character well, just like Naomi played with the preceding caution. Now, in order for her to go to SmackDown, we got to get this character the fuck on out of here. It doesn't matter if she's over with the crowd, okay? No matter if she's champion, because we don't want this Daddy Dom lovey-dovey type of chick. We want this, unhinged, going solo, I want it all type chick. I'm hungry for that goal. I'm hungry to be successful. So, again, if you could push that success like Naomi, then then at least people will give you dap, and I'm pretty sure people will start talking about Liv Morgan. But if you stay the same, the possibility you might not be able to get over, but you will if you do what I ask, and that's to switch up your character. So it will work out, and I am looking forward for Liv Morgan to go to SmackDown. I'm just counting down the days so when we can get to the conclusion. But if the story goes the way I predict, I think it will all go smooth. We just have to be patient. So in the meantime, let's just see how it goes. But as for the Royal Rumble, CJAX gonna get to that, and because I do want you guys to comment down below and share your thoughts, because we ain't got many days left and it's coming close. So let's go ahead and continue. But shout out to Leo for the audio. Hopefully he'll respond, but because I do have some more ideas, but I'll just save it for after the video. Okay, so let's continue.
And then obviously Drew McIntyre's fighting Samuel Zayn, Samantha Zayn for the WWE Championship. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I think it's safe to say, in my opinion, I think Samantha Zayn is going to win this match and win the WWE Championship, because when else are they ever going to give this dude the championship? Be real with yourself. At this point, they've been doing the "you're never going to win the big one, Femi" storyline for like 500 years, okay? At some point, in front of the hot Saudi Arabia crowd that's going to be super hot for Sami Zayn, super behind him, I think it's time to just go ahead and have him win the championship. And I do think Triple H, who only books for cheap pops and nostalgia and shock factor, I think that what we're going to have is basically Sami Zayn's going to win this championship for the cheap pop shock factor moment. Just like Drew McIntyre won, you know what I'm saying? I think that Sami Zayn will win. He maybe do an open challenge. It would be cool if Kevin Owens could answer an open challenge for the WWE Championship. That would be pretty sick. I think Sami could rock a nice little, open challenge for the WWE Championship week to week. I think that would fit his character, it would fit his gimmick, and I think that would be nice. You know what I'm saying? Him being a fighting champion, he's fought all these years to get it. Why would he just get it and not defend it? I think it would make sense for him to do that, and that could be a fun little storyline, or not really a storyline, but a fun little dynamic with Sami's championship reign if he wins the championship. So I think Sami will win. You have the easy way to do it, as well as Cody and Jacob Fatu get involved, and quite frankly, while they get involved, maybe the ref goes down, do a ref bump, and then Cody and Jacob Fatu brawl with Drew McIntyre. All three of them can brawl, yeah! And then after that, Drew McIntyre's weakened or distracted or gets hit by a finisher. Sami Zayn swoops in, hits a haluva kick or two, gets the win, and finally gets the world championship, and then he can drop it like in a month or something back to Drew McIntyre, and then Drew can carry it into Mania or something like that. That way Triple H can get his little unpredictability points and get his little cheap pop, cheap shock factor moment, and that way Sami can finally end this story, and you can say you gave it to him, because next year's WrestleMania is in Saudi Arabia, but we all know that Sami Zayn is not going to be main eventing either night of that show, most likely. You know what I mean? Most likely, at least, because Roman and Rock might main event if they're truly paying The Rock as much money as they're saying it is, which is like an unspecified amount that's allegedly the highest for a single match in the history of professional wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, but I think Sami Zayn's going to win, and then ultimately Drew will win it back maybe in a month or so, or maybe he won't win it back at all. I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? Drew McIntyre is obviously a transitional champion. He's not going to hold it past Mania at the latest. Unfortunately, Drew's been doing great work for a couple years, and, now he's finally got the chance to be champion, and it looks like it's going to be short-lived, but who cares? It's Triple H booking the show. You can't really be surprised.
All right, so now he's going to talk about the Women's Royal Rumble, so let's hear it.
And in the Women's Rumble, I don't even really feel like talking about this. This match is going to be a disaster class, guys. There's no storylines here. There's no, nobody cares. We know that if Bianca returns, she's going to win. And if she doesn't return, then Liv Morgan's likely going to win. It's the same stuff. They've already kind of teased a little bit with Liv and Stephanie by having them have a couple backstage segments. It's pretty obvious what direction we're going in here, guys. Either Bianca will win this or the Chamber and challenge Jade, and Liv Morgan will win this or the Chamber and challenge Stephanie Vaquer. It's very simple. You know what I mean? Well, we have to stop overreacting to this stuff. The Royal Rumble for the women's too has basically no star power and no intrigue, right? There's no drama here. Nobody cares about any of these nonsensical storylines. And even worse than the men's division, arguably, is the champions. Jade Cargill has been champ for 3 months, and it feels like she does absolutely nothing because she does nothing. She's had 0 defenses in 3 months. Her storylines are boring. They're unengaging. She has no feuds. And on top of that, it's the same thing for Stephanie Vaquer. She has a feud with Raquel Rodriguez that's been going on for 2 or 3 months, and nobody cares about it. It's boring. Stephanie Vaquera has been boring as champion. She tells no stories, and she barely does anything with that championship. So you have two uninteresting belts that nobody cares about, and two champions that nobody cares about either. And then they're going to fight two possible winners of the Rumble that no one's going to care about. People will care about Bianca Belair because she's returning, but I don't think at this current point with Liv Morgan's booking that anyone cares. Her stories suck, and her character's repetitive, and it's getting boring, and it's getting old in my opinion. So it's time to go ahead and move on. I think Bianca Belair wins if she returns, and if she doesn't return, then Liv Morgan wins. It's as simple as that.
All right, so I definitely want to address this too. So one of the members from Wrestling Republic says that Liv Morgan has a 44% chance of winning, and Bianca has a 46% chance of winning. So if CJAX is correct, because I do believe Bianca's going to pull up, if Bianca wins, don't be upset. Just know it's because of what would... It's basically just how Liv Morgan is going to win. It's not because her winning is the problem. It's how she's going to win. You know, back behind the scenes. Not saying in the ring. I'm saying behind the scenes. So if you're going to pay someone to have her win because you don't want her to win organically because of what the fans are saying, she's always runner-up, then that is a problem, and that is unfair, and that is the reason why CJAX believes that if Bianca returns, she's going to win it. But one thing he never mentioned is, what if Liv Morgan eliminates Bianca Belair? And that's the part that I don't think he don't want to talk about. But I'm just going to listen to him for now and see how it goes. But if Bianca Belair wins, you don't be upset. It's just how the booking is set up and how it was planned and what is the real reason why Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble. It's not because she's always been runner-up. It's because TKO want to get out of debt. So this ain't got nothing to do with the movie. This ain't got nothing to do with Becky. This ain't got nothing to do with Charlotte. This ain't got nothing to do with all the times that she's been in the Royal Rumble. It's a money grab, okay? They want to get out of debt. Saudi Arabia had money for them to have their favorites win. So this has nothing to do with the background story of it. Is all because of a bag, all right? So that's all it is. And I'm going to be real with you. If Liv Morgan has that movie come out, I don't think the movie will have anything to do with gold, and I don't think it will have anything to do with what she's doing in WWE at all. It's just her auditioning, her becoming the new upcoming successful actress on her own. And even if WWE helps her, it doesn't matter, because at some point she might not need WWE to even audition in a movie, kind of like The Rock and kind of like John Cena. So at some point, we're going to have to look at Liv Morgan as a Hollywood superstar and not look at her as a wrestler no more, because of the skills she has as an actress, and I'm looking forward to that. So just want to let you guys know. So I still think that Liv might have a 90% chance of winning based off of the push and the gambling that people are setting on her, because a lot of people are gambling on her, and I think that's not said to go. Why would you waste your money on scripted wrestling? I don't understand that, but people are, they don't care. They just want their money's worth. Kind of like, just like Saudi Arabia, they want their money's worth. Well, I'm just letting you know right now, if she lose, y'all stupid as fuck. So, but Saudi Arabia, they're not stupid. They probably say, you know what, have Bianca win, and then we'll be okay with it. And say, who are we to say that they were wrong for that? I don't think they are. They want someone to win, and these are the two. So pick either one. All right. So let's continue.
And then for the men's Rumble, like I said, I think that Los Angeles night is going to get that W. But all in all, because this Rumble has no exciting or engaging outcomes, none of this quite frankly matters, guys, because we know that no matter who wins the Rumble, we have to do another 2.5 months after the Rumble leading into Mania 42. And we all know that Triple Fraud is likely not going to book an engaging build to WrestleMania 42. I'm sorry to say it, but it is what it is. If he couldn't do it last year with John Cena, The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins healthy. You understand what I'm saying? He had Braun Breaker. He had the possibility and the opportunity to bring up people like Trick Williams or utilize Carmelo Hayes more. He could have done this a year ago. And after all that, we had Jey Uso and Gunther for the world title, which was a disaster class feud and a trash match that nobody remembers. And then we had John Cena and Cody Rhodes, who they may have had 1 or 2 good promo segments, but the match at Mania 41 was trash. That's what we got last year. And those people are a lot better of a talent pool. You know, it's the same talent pool as last year that we have this year, basically, just minus John Cena and minus The Rock and might be minus Seth Rollins as well. So I just don't understand. If you couldn't get it done last year, how in the world are you going to get it done this year? You understand what I'm saying? It's just none of this stuff is exciting to look forward to, in my opinion. And it's really sad to say that because it's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. You know what I'm saying? For WWE in Mania season. But clearly, that's just not going to look, it's just not going to work out like that in my personal opinion. But hey, hopefully I'm wrong and we get an amazing show that's expertly booked and has a lot of creative twists and turns and has some really, really good intrigue and drama in it and some great winners. But is that going to happen? Probably not. So with that being said, let me know what you think about the Royal Rumble this year in the comment section below. How hyped for it? What do you think is going to go down? And as always, have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.
All right. Well, according to Liv, she says Liv Morgan promised to win this Royal Rumble after becoming the betting favorite. Now, I don't know what she mean by that, but then again, everybody's saying they're going to win, but we really don't know. So I don't know. But somebody in the comments did say on Instagram that she ain't winning the Rumble this year. It should be Bianca winning the Rumble this year, and that's the only best for business. I mean, that's the only best for business. I think that's what he's trying to say. All right, yeah. But look, whether it's best for business or not, the reasoning for Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble is not because of y'all reasoning. It's because TKO wants some money, and Saudi Arabia are paying them to have Sami Zayn and Liv Morgan win. So if they win, right, the money is the reason why they won. They did not win because of because they deserve it. It's because they need money. Okay, TKO need money, and that's why they did it. Because this is all a complete scam. They want the bread, and they took it. And now, if we see Sami Zayn and Liv Morgan win Saturday, you know why they won. So get in the comment box and y'all let me know who y'all think is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Do you think it's going to be Bianca or do you think it's going to be Liv? If you think it's going to be Liv, fine. If she wins, she wins, whatever. If Bianca wins, cool. But don't be upset at all. It's just, it's nothing personal. It's just business, all right? Same thing with Liv Morgan. I think with Liv Morgan, it's personal and business, because it's personal because we know why she won this Royal Rumble, besides her winning because she deserves it and she's been runner up and whatnot. And it's business because of the transaction. Versus with Bianca, we don't know. So it's best if we don't know and you keep it on the low, so that way we ain't gotta get hurt, we ain't gotta be surprised, we ain't gotta feel some type of way, because it's kayfabe for a reason. But with Liv, we already know the cat is out of the bag. But versus with Bianca, we don't know nothing. So, hopefully we get the right winner. But whoever wins, hopefully their story will be told correctly. Otherwise, this was just a complete waste of time. Yep. All right, so get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, all right? But before I end this video, before people start saying, oh, look, now that Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble, she's a babyface now. Yay! En contraire, beg to differ, because I have to remind you guys that Liv Morgan is still with Dominic Mysterio and she's still friends with Roxanne and she's still part of the group. So before I end this video, let me set a reminder for you guys. Liv Morgan is a liar, hypocrite, manipulator. Everybody say LHM. Yeah.
Yeah.